United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Please silence phones, pages, and other devices. Item 1, citizen concerns. Do we have anybody that would like to speak on something that is not already on the agenda? Tell us your name and address, please.
My name is Jeff Reinders, 24 40th Street. I'm president of the Siouxland Construction Alliance, which is a local organization here. About 150 members of local contractors. I want to talk about the jail project. Some time ago, we were contacted to meet before the vote about this project. There were three things at that project that kind of stuck out to me and a bunch of other guys. One was that the existing jail needed $20 million worth of repairs. As a contractor, you kind of go, how in the hell does that happen? But as a taxpayer, it was pretty irritating. The second one was the size of the jail, the number of beds, and we were told that mental health was a big issue. Well, I get that. And I will say to our law enforcement people, I have the most respect for law enforcement now that I've had my entire life having to deal with that. But the third one was we want to keep this local. We're going to do everything we can to make this project be local. And, you know, there's been an ongoing joke, you know, about, with contract. I've done this my entire adult life, basically, commercial industrial contracting. That, you know, if you live in Sioux City or within 75 miles of Sioux City, you're too dumb to work for the city or the county. You have to go outside 75 miles to get somebody that's really competent to advise them or do whatever. It's just, you know, it's talk, and it's there. And so when that was said, everybody kind of poo-pooed a little bit, but okay, you know, we'll go along with it. So as time went on, with the architect, you know, from St. Joe, Missouri, sends out 48 original plans and specs. Of those 48, 4 went to Woodbury County addresses. 3 contractors and the Construction Alliance. I'm kind of thinking about what effort was made here to try to keep this local. You know, and that's not a good thing. We're all taxpayers, we all work here, and, you know, believe it or not, there's some pretty competent people in this city that can help. And then we go over budget. Not just a little, but quite a bit. And, you know, there's a thing in our industry called value engineering, where you could have the contractor say, well, okay, we're over budget. What can you do to help us out here? But by law, you only can do that with the low bidder. That doesn't make any sense. And so here we are. We're going to build a jail. We're over budget. And we got another $1.3 million for an out-of-town contractor to do. I'm not sure what he's doing. I asked Mr. Butler for their contract here. But, you know, I just wanted to come today, you know, and voice our opinions because there's a bit of a rift going on and it kind of needs to stop. We'd like to be involved more. You got a lot of good people in this city, in this county, who are plenty capable. And before I quit, there was one comment made at that meeting yesterday that really did irritate me. I don't know who said it, but I heard, well, we used a local architect to build the first jail and see where we are today. And that architect didn't have anything to do with that. You didn't do your maintenance. That's all it is. You have some people, you know, there's subcontractors that'll be on this out-of-town contractor. They're local. There's a lot of guys didn't bid it to the out-of-town guy. A lot of people only bid Klinger. And I don't know if you know anything about Klinger, but they're a pretty capable company. I just wanted to let you know that our membership isn't real happy about the situation. And I'm here today on behalf of them. Going forward, We want to see things improve. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Item 2, before we move on to our 4:35, we have a 4:35 set time, Ernie. Do you want to go ahead with it, Mr. Gill, or what do you want to do?
Approve the agenda.
Item number 2, approval of the agenda.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Now with the set time, Pat? We are at a set time for 4:35, Board Administration Public Hearing and Sale of Property Parcel ending in 023, also known as 1417 Grandview Boulevard. We are in public hearing. If anyone has opinions for or against the sale of the property, please be heard now.
Hearing none, I would move to close the hearing.
Motion by Monson, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Do we have anybody interested in the parcel at 1417 Grandview? Come up here, sir, and tell us your name and address.
My name is Ari Zavala. I reside on 1423 Grandview.
Do you have an opening bid for the property, sir?
Yes. I don't know where it's supposed to start.
216 is the minimum bid.
Okay. That-
Do we have any other bidders for this property? I move that we sell the property at 1417 Grandview to Mr. Zavala for $216.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. You can talk to Heather back there. She'll take care of it from here. All right. Ernie, did you have something you wanted to say, please?
Ernie Colt, 4526 Perry Way. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process as well and the quality assurance questionnaire. The bids came in on May 20th. The quality assurance questionnaire says this has to be turned in 14 days after low bid is announced, along with the sub-list. It was awarded yesterday. Still don't have a complete sub-list. I was looking for the 10-hour OSHA requirements for the subs. By the way, this quality assurance questionnaire is public record. We haven't seen it. So I was looking for the 10-hour OSHA on the subs, and I was looking for a work comp insurance on the employees along with the sub list, and we haven't seen any of those. So just a little insight on how the quality assurance questionnaire was used and why it was used if it wasn't going to be used properly. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Items 3 through 10 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 3 is approval of the minutes of the June 8 meeting. 4 is approval of claims. 5, county auditor. Approval of liquor license application for the Scarecrow Farm in Lawton. B is approval of liquor license amendment of ownership of Anthony Golf Course. 6 is approval of 28E agreement between Woodbury County, Iowa, and the Woodbury Soil and Water Conservation District for funding and management of a watershed inspection and maintenance program in Woodbury County. 7 is juvenile detention. Receive juvenile detention's May population report. 8 is human resources. Approval of memorandum of personnel transactions. 9 is Board Administration, approval of agreement between Woodbury County, Iowa and Williams and Company, PC for fiscal years 2021 through 2025. 10 is Secondary Roads, approve the permit to work in the right-of-way and an underground utility permit for Randy Hunt and Hunt Farms. Do we have any questions on the consent agenda?
We'll move it.
Motion by Young, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Item 12, if you're ready, Melissa, for authorization to create the new position of Assistant County Engineer.
Melissa Thomas, Human Resources Director, and this agenda item is to create a new position for the Secondary Roads Department, Assistant County Engineer. This is not adding a position, this is changing an existing position, just to let you know. The additional wage I'm suggesting is $27,157 with a benefit also approximately of a $4,000 addition. I'm going to let Mark take it from here, and then he can give you a little bit of background and talk about the funding.
Mark Narrow, Woodbury County Engineer. Happy to announce that Colin Ryan, our civil engineer intern, has passed his professional engineer's licensing exam. He's been with us now about 3 years and has really integrated well into our work group there. The good news is he can perform any of the duties of the county engineer at this point because he is professionally licensed in the state of Iowa. That also qualifies him to be a county engineer anywhere in the state. And when you look at our aging management staff, myself and Ben Kusler, who were both nearing retirement, keeping Colin around and keeping some continuity within our office, I think, is a very important thing for the board to be considering. The assistant county engineer position is a step up from civil engineer intern. It recognizes that he can do plans under his own license. Gradually, I am training him to be a county engineer, whether it's here or somewhere else. Corey Gaston, you may remember Corey. I know Mark was on the board when we created the civil engineer intern position. Corey's been Mills County engineer for the last 2 or 3 years. And it's nice to see those young engineers get started in counties and progress through. Again, we would like to keep Colin on board. I think an increase in pay, this puts him equivalent to Ben Kusler on pay at this point in time.
And this new position was going to be out of your current budget?
Yes.
Because we're getting close to another set time
Yeah,
here,
I'm
Mark.
not asking for any additional money to be inserted into the budget. I will find the pay raise within the money we already have appropriated for engineering.
I'd move it.
Motion by Monson, second by DeWitt for item 12A. Any other questions for Mark? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. B,
Just to give you a very quick idea, Jasper County has been looking for an engineer for the last 4 months. They're currently offering $135,000 a year, a $5,000 signing bonus, and a $10,000 moving allowance.
Don't give this guy any maps.
That's right. Well, the good thing is, Colin is a Western Iowa. He and his wife are both from Western Iowa, and it's my hope that this will help retain him in his current position. He is a valued employee.
However, I think that is the trend. It's going to cost more money down the road.
Yeah, that's true. And we aren't putting a lot of young engineers into the ranks right now, so.
item B, authorization to initiate hiring process.
We had to take this out of the consent, considering the motion of the last item.
Do you want this in the folder, or do you want to get it back up here, Mark?
You need a motion on this?
Yep.
Even though we don't move it?
Second by, motion by Monson, second by DeWitt to authorization to initiate the hiring process. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Approval of request to deauthorize county position.
And that is the same situation. We're deauthorizing of the intern position.
I will move that.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Ung. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
We're at the 4:45 set time we're going to recess the Board of Supervisors meeting and convene the Grant Township Trustees meeting. Item 14A is public hearing for the proposed budget. We are in public hearing right now. Do we have any input from the public for or against? Do we have a township clerk?
No, just wait.
Hearing no public input for the public hearing, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Monson to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. 14B is adoption of the budget and proposed levy. Do we have anybody that can speak on this? Mr. Gill, do you have any information that we can use, or?
No, it's just, you're just adopting the budget. This is a formality. It had to be done. It's way beyond the deadline, but you're just adopting it now in order to, so that the taxes can be levied.
I move to adopt the budget and proposed levy.
Second.
Second by Radig. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. 14C is adopt a resolution naming those authorized to sign documents for Grant Township. I had talked to Matthew about Matthew and I being named on as authorized to sign the documents known as otherwise checking accounts and so forth, since the board has taken over the trustees' duties. Unless somebody else wants to be appointed to those signatures.
I'd move you two gentlemen.
I'll second that.
Motion by Monson and second by Radig to take care of us on this issue.
Do we have a resolution or,
There is a resolution. That's what you just moved.
okay, that motion is the resolution, okay.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Item D is approval of claims.
I believe the only claim we have is for mowing at this point. Is that correct, Michelle?
Yes, we do have one invoice that was submitted from a Mr. Philip Welty Mowing in the amount of $3,500.
And that was authorized by the chairperson after you assumed those duties, and those, they have been performed, and it's up to you to approve that claim to pay it now.
I will move approval.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Ung. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. I see we have some folks from the Odo Fire Department. Is this a good time to ask them?
This is
Mr.
the public
Gill?
comment period, yes.
Public comment period on this Grant Township Trustees meeting.
Elizabeth Swearingen, 305 7th Avenue in Odo, and I'm here on behalf of the Odo Fire Department. Grant Township is one of the townships our fire department serves, and we are wanting to submit a request. We didn't know all the processes needed. We spent a little time this afternoon finding out about that, but we would like to submit a request in writing for payment of funds that have been happening in the past to our fire department to help us run from that township that we have not received. And my understanding is that we need to do that in writing, and I will do that. But I wanted to kind of just, make it known that we are aware that there's been a change with all of you taking over, and we will be looking to do that. We are also, our fire department had a tragedy in February with the freeze that happened in Odo, and we lost power, and all of our equipment in our building was damaged from that freeze, and we are still working on becoming fully functional. Very happy to report that all of our major equipment, all of our engines and our tanker and grass rigs are all back and functioning. We got the last one picked up last week, but we're still working on the rest of the equipment that was damaged, as well as the building that has water damage from the freeze, working through our insurance company, which is a very long process, but not everything is being covered by that because of depreciation. And so I would also like to say that we will be making a request for any additional funding that could help us cover what won't be covered to get us back to where we were. And I'm not sure if there's anything else that I can answer for you or that I should say at this point.
I'm just going to say that my question was going to be, was there any insurance on this? And thank you for that. This obviously is going to be a learning curve for this board, because I was just informed of the 2080 that's required for these agreements and to be funded, so that there's something in place. And so you're acquainted with that now?
To an extent.
Okay.
I'm on a learning curve as well. I'm currently the treasurer for the Otoe Fire Department. I perform some of the duties of secretary as well, and I'm an active firefighter.
Who would you ask her to keep in contact with, Pat, on the 28E and such like that?
The clerk and our office will be assisting you in doing that. From what we can tell, there are funds somewhere around $80,000 in that account. The way that townships work, very similar to the county government, is that taxes are levied for particular items. But in reviewing the code section today, it appears we can't tell from what we've looked at what fiscal years those payments were actually made for those fire departments. But we kind of consistently were made every year. But the funds that were expended weren't the amount that was budgeted for. So that's how you ended up with a pretty large sum. You can also there's an amendment, a budget amendment process that you can work through, is that kind of alleviates you from staying within those categories as far as when you spend those funds. But so you have options whether you want to just reduce the levy in future years, or you can and pay those funds when requests are made, so very similar to what the board does here. And that's what we visited with them about, is whether they want to do that or not. And you folks are, you're the trustees now for the Grant Township, and you are in charge of those funds, and you would direct the clerk or someone to disperse those funds.
The clerk would be Mr. DeWitt?
No.
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 The clerk is Jean Lilly. She was requested to be here today. She isn't here, that I can see.
I thought you had a generator for the meeting room area.
No. We have a generator that has been donated to us now, but prior to that, no. We had no generator in-house.
How many months behind are you on being paid, do you think?
From Grant Township?
Right.
They had been doing payments either 1 or 2 times a year, not on a monthly basis. And it is a variety of times where it's 1 time a year or 2 times a year. The amounts are not stable. I can tell you the last check that we received from them was July of last year.
I happen to know a nonprofit that has money that you should be talking to. MERD.
Well, I'm going to say let's deal with that on a separate issue. But
Yeah, but I mean, if they need a generator, they need to get one.
Thank you.
So,
So the requests need to go to Jean Lilly and to your office. Is that
Yes.
Any information, the 2080, that sort of thing?
Yes, we are acting as an agent for the Board of Supervisors, so when those requests come in, you make them to the clerk, but you also should make it to the Board of Supervisors
Thank you
in
very
care
much.
of the county auditor's office.
I appreciate the information, thank you.
And if you need help, let us know. I mean, like I said, this is a learning curve for us as well. I don't think anybody on this board is excited about taking over Grant Township, but it happened and here we are. So
Well, thank you.
thank you very much, and we'll be talking soon, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
I have a technical question.
Sure.
In terms of who can sign checks, is it just the two of you?
No, Ms. Lilly needs to get to the bank or in some fashion, as I understand it, be placed as a signer. Mr. Ung and I will be signing in her stead if she refuses to or is unavailable or whatever the case may be, is the reason for us to be on that checking account as well.
That's correct.
That is correct.
You also, from what we could tell, there are some issues with there might be some repairs needed in cemeteries. I would suggest that you folks acquaint yourself with those needs. And there also, I contacted the insurance company. The liability policy has lapsed for the township. Haven't heard from them yet, so there's some cleanup work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I was informed. Mr. Weldy mentioned that to me, so.
There are two cemeteries. I think one is active, and then there is also a school grounds. I don't know why it's still there. It's, when properties are no longer being used for township purposes, they're supposed to go back to the original owner or sell those. Those are something I'll visit with the county attorney about.
Maybe we could have Grant Township, like purchase an NFL team, we build a stadium there. Let's get you the fire station first.
Well, it does allow for like playgrounds and that sort of thing.
Another technical question. Being as we are trustees now, we can direct the clerk to add the two of us to the bank account, correct?
The resolution already does that for you.
Okay.
I was told by the bank that we need to present a resolution or some form of official action that names two people as co-signers on the checks.
Okay.
Now, I have a technical question. Does it need to be two signatures on these checks or only one?
Two signatures on the check, and that is something that right now is probably a motion you should make, is that, just to clarify that, is that there should be two signatures on every check that goes out.
I will make that
Is
motion.
that necessary?
I think
Second.
that would be a good thing to do.
I think in the current circumstances, we don't have much choice. Motion by DeWitt, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
I have a question. The budget does need to be signed by the clerk in order to be certified by the auditor. So this resolution that's on file gives you the ability to act as a trustee signator. Would you like the budget or?
I believe the resolution that they just approved would allow either of those folks to sign that, to certify that budget.
Okay.
I'll be in tomorrow for sure. Apparently you want it signed right now.
Give that a look-see, see if you approve.
I was going to say I could
Does it
loan
need
you a
Mr.
clerk.
Ung's as well, or just one?
It wouldn't hurt to have Mr. Ung sign that too.
Well, give me a minute, guys. Well, you signed as the clerk, Rocky. County audit. Take your time. Yeah, I mean, just speaking for myself, in regards to use of the funds, I'd prefer we spend as much as budgeted and anything to make up past shortfalls rather than keep a reserve, so to speak. As much correction as we can make.
Well, in the conversation that I've had as well, since we're still on the Grant Township trustees meeting is that I would like to make sure, I mean, granted, cleaning up trees and shrubage and whatever that might be at these cemeteries is no less important, but I want to get the financial aspect of it caught up first, and then we'll start diving into the making things pretty again. So I don't want to be embarrassed of our cemeteries on the townships, and but I think first things first, let's get the financial side of it taken care of. Any other public comment? We'll adjourn the Grant Township Trustees meeting and continue now with the Board of Supervisors meeting again. Item 13, Juvenile Detention. Mr. Weber, approval request for contract with State of Nebraska for Woodbury County Detention bed usage.
It wasn't too long ago I brought you a contract for a partnership with the state of Nebraska. That partnership's gone really well. They tend to be using us for their longer-term youth with longer sentences. We actually had a Nebraska resident graduate from high school from us a few months ago. So the relationship has gone well. The Nebraska State Legislature has allocated more money for reimbursement for Nebraska homes, detention centers, and whatnot. Our contract with Nebraska didn't have an end date, so they could have basically used us as a cheaper alternative. They haven't. They sought us out. They'd like to amend the contract with an increase this next year and an increase after that. From where that'll go, I don't know. I think money's going to start coming back this direction. So basically just asking to amend the last contract we just did.
I'll move that.
Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Any other questions for Mr. Weber? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Item 15, Community and Economic Development. Approval to set the date and time for 3 public hearings to approve a commercial wind energy conversion systems ordinance.
Good evening, David Gleiser, Director of Community Economic Development. Supervisors, you'll likely recall that Iowa is a leader in wind energy. We actually produce the highest percentage of electricity by wind of any other state in the nation, and we generate now more electricity by wind than any other source. Wind energy is good for Iowa's economy and job market, as it provides good-paying jobs. It attracts companies such as Google, Apple, and Facebook. It generates millions of dollars in annual lease payments to Iowa landowners, and it helps counties capture millions of dollars in new property tax revenue. With the high demand and potential for more wind growth in Iowa, and considering recent large-scale wind farms announcements in adjacent and nearby counties, Woodbury County staff have developed a proposed ordinance that addresses the site plan review and application and approval process for the construction and ongoing maintenance of large-scale commercial wind energy conversion systems that are proposed to be erected in unincorporated Woodbury County. And a little background, Joshua Whitman out of the Assistant County Attorney's Office, County Engineer Mark Nara, County Zoning Coordinator Dan Priestley, and myself, we've been working on this for a little over a year. Last year we hit a road bump with COVID, and it got us off the rails for a little bit, but in the last 6 months we've been doing some work, and we've scoured all ordinances for wind farms at the county level across the state, and we've put together what we feel like is a very comprehensive and a very effective wind energy ordinance for Woodbury County for the Board of Supervisors to consider. I'm asking for the board to set the date and time for 3 public hearings so we can begin the formal process of having a public hearing and entertaining public comment and soliciting feedback from stakeholders.
Any reference in here about the Les Hills?
No.
National landmark. You'll get some pushback if you allow windmills to be placed on those hills.
Yes, I would assume so. I don't think that the Lust Hills is an area that wind turbines would be located. I think based off of wind patterns, it'd be more of northern Woodbury County, north central part of the county, more closer toward the Plymouth County line.
Yep.
But that's good feedback. I mean, Supervisor Munson, that's the type of feedback that we would offer or that we would want stakeholder groups to provide, so.
Well, if you're going to stick $3 million in building a tower, you're not going to put it in an area that doesn't get the best wind pattern, you know. So I don't see the need for it necessarily to be put in there, but if it makes people feel better, you know, then. Have you talked with anybody in the industry? Like, I know like Chris Rance from Sioux City is now like, he's helping to lobby on behalf of wind companies. Maybe that would be a good source to see if they have any.
Yes, we've, my department, we partnered with the Siouxland Chamber of Commerce and Siouxland Initiative with an organization called Power Up Iowa, and I believe Chris Rance was part of that meeting. But that's all that we're asking for this evening.
First things first, let's just set the times, and we can have all the public comment we want at that time. So I will move item 15A for Tuesday, 6/22 at 4:40 PM.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Item 15A is approved, 5-0. I will move item 15B, Tuesday at 6/29 at 4:45 PM. Motion by DeWitt, second by Wright. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. 15, passes 5-0. 15C, I will move approval of July 6th at 4:45 PM.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Item 16, secondary roads. Award the quote from Ziegler Caterpillar for a new 950 GC front-end loader for $210,983.
We reviewed the two lower priced machines. We had a Hyundai 960 HL, I believe it was. There was $175,000. We were unable to actually look at a new 960. They loaned us a 955 to test. We have some concerns. We've got one Hyundai piece of equipment right now that's down in District 5. It's a hydraulic excavator, rubber tire mounted. They haven't been keeping staff full-time at their Raiders building here. We have heard that we get good support out of Council Bluffs from a couple of people who privately own Hyundais, but we were concerned in reviewing it against the other loaders. As you know, last year we bought a John Deere 644. We had it on the lot. We compared the 950 GC and then the 955, which was 25 fewer horsepower than the competitive machines. And we felt that the CAT was the bid that most closely responded to our specifications and the better machine. And most importantly, we know from Ziegler we have very good parts and service support. So we're recommending that we purchase the second place Caterpillar 950 GC for $210,983.
I will move that.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Mr. Monson. Any other questions, concerns?
What was the total difference again, price-wise?
It was about $35,000. The Hyundai came in at $175,800 and some odd dollars. It would have been nice to have made it work. It would have been nice if we could have looked at a 960, but the fact that they couldn't produce one is kind of indicative of the problem we had even finding the next size down for a demonstrator. We didn't get a demonstrator from Hyundai until last Tuesday, finally, after 4 weeks of requesting one. So we do have some concerns about it. Again, we've got one Hyundai in the fleet already. They can continue to prove their ability to support their machinery, and they'll have another shot at it next year. But last year, Hyundai was also low, but that machine was underpowered. We were requiring 240 horsepower. Last year it was 200. This year we tested that machine that we didn't buy last year. So again, they'll have another shot next year when we buy our next loader. But this time, we felt the Cat was the better buy.
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. Item 17, approval on a joint purchase of a new record management system, RMS, with the city of Sioux City and WIC. Mr. Sheriff?
Yes, good evening, Sheriff Sheehan. I'm here to bring to the board and ask for approval of funding our half of a new RMS system with the city. The total bill is $1.5 million, so the county share would be $750,000. Just to kind of give you a little, bring you up to speed, this was all started long before I was part of the sheriff's office. I think going on 2 years ago, retired Major Wick started working on this project on behalf of the sheriff's office with Sergeant Hogendijk and Lieutenant Heineman from the PD. When Major Wick retired back in December, Lieutenant Hendrickson drew the short straw and was kind of put in charge of the sheriff's office side of kind of getting this thing across the finish line. Really want to make sure that we thank the partnership with the police department, Captain Kirkpatrick and Lieutenant Heineman and Sergeant Hogendijk, and I'm sure others. We also have Melissa Lee with Motorola here. This is a project that, like I said, has been being worked on for about 2 years. We put RFPs out. I think there were 5, is that right? 5 vendors who submitted proposals. They spent countless hours going through these 5 vendors to come up with the most efficient, the most effective, and the best bang for your buck system that we could get, and this is what we're bringing forward. It's a Motorola system. If you're not familiar, the HTE system that we use now is originally an accounting software system, if I'm not mistaken. It's been used for 25, 30 years, and it's no longer going to be supported. And so we were forced into, we had to do something moving forward. It's also a system that if you want reports run, it is not as simple as clicking a button, which this system is going to make it much more simple and effective. So having said all that, if you have any questions, I'm going to kind of rely on these folks. I'm here to kind of carry the water, but I'm not even going to act like I have any.
So you're just doing the easy part? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am, in my role as sheriff, I'm bringing this to you, but if you do have any specific questions, I'm not going to stand here and fake like I know. I'm going to let the people who actually know answer your questions.
Let's see how quick this works. Where's the money coming from?
Dennis, you're the expert that has the answers for that.
This will be
A CIP.
after July 1st.
And it was going to be CIP prior to that anyway?
Yes.
Prior to the.
It varied a little bit, but this is the final number and it needs to be done.
And there's a 4-year service contract?
It's a 5-year.
5-year service.
The original estimate that Major Wick originally brought over was $500,000, and it's went up. I will say that Motorola is discounting $1.14 million off of the contract to bring it down to that $1.5 million part. And then Lieutenant Hendrickson had a conversation with me. Was it Blackhawk County? Blackhawk County is going through a very similar process, but they had, I believe it was consultants doing some work for them that this group was doing. And the work that these guys have done, from the numbers, if you're comparing Blackhawk County, very similar, around $400,000 in savings from the work that these guys have done. So that's, again, I just can't thank them enough. I mean, they saved us almost $500,000 in the work that they did rather than hiring somebody else to come in and tell us what we need. They dove headfirst in.
What specifically is this for? Computers?
The record management system for keeping all of our records. It's for computer-aided dispatch for our jail management system and our civil management system.
Okay.
Unless you guys have a better, more technical.
And like you said, because I heard this on the WIC meeting the other day, but it's no longer going to be supported, so it's kind of a it's going away no matter, so.
I think I lived through this with the
Transition?
the devices you communicate back and forth years back. Well, we're not going to support it anymore.
Yes.
The things with the cords that you hold up like this.
Yeah, yeah.
This product would replace products from 2 vendors currently, or
The HTE.
just HTE?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people have to get trained to use it?
All of them?
Everyone, yeah,
Every employee within the 2 departments?
yes. And dispatch.
And you'll be leading this training effort or somebody else we can rely on? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that makes me want to approve it right now.
It can be a fun training with COVID now.
And, oh yeah, that is correct. Sergeant Luffi did come in, and they're also going to start using the same record management system, because currently they don't.
And one thing I want to also bring up is all the fire departments, the other police departments in Woodbury County, all have access to view our system. So it's not like we're going to leave any of the fire departments hanging dry. They can't see it. If they buy a tablet, they will be able to look at our system, get our dispatch screens. So it's all encompassing the entire county.
Any other
One thing
questions?
I should also say is Motorola has thrown in 1 free year of maintenance. So the first year is free maintenance. We're paying for years 2 through 5.
Mr. Butler?
Will the maintenance be just like we do with Tyler through the WIC budget? Or do they have to budget within their own budget after the first free year? Normally, I would say that'd be through WIC.
Or would that go through the sheriff's department?
The maintenance fees, once they start, is that done through the WIC board, or is it through our individual budgeting?
We've had questions about that. I'm guessing it's going to go.
Kevin, if you'll, they just want it for the record.
I'm not sure how they're going to do it. They gave one sum of $500,000. I'm hoping to send that back through the WIC board for them to figure out how to split up the fees between the city and the county. So,
Has the city approved their portion yet?
yes.
Oh, they did?
That was
Okay,
last.
okay.
Yeah. And this is Lieutenant Hyman. He's done a lion's share of the work, along with Sergeant Wilson.
Captain Mark Kirkpatrick, Sioux City Police Department. I might provide just a little bit of clarity on that. The way we do it now for the existing HTE contracts is that each agency budgets its own ongoing maintenance, user fees, and things of that nature. The contract that we've written with Motorola includes the first year of all those fees, and then they've included a provision where if we purchase the next 4 years of maintenance up front, we can see a significant savings over purchasing it year by year. Once that total of 5 years would expire, then each agency would have it within their own budget to support the ongoing site fees, maintenance, and administration.
Does that answer your question, Dennis? Okay.
Need a motion?
I do.
I move it.
I will, motion by Monson, second by Wright. I'm sorry.
I got it. Thank you, Sheriff, for the detailed and helpful write-up.
Thank you.
Actually, I do want to thank you guys too, because anytime we can get the sheriff's department and the police department working together to save everybody money, it's a good thing. So I really appreciate that.
And this very much was a cooperative effort, so we're happy to do that.
And if you guys have any embarrassing stories from when she had worked over there, just
But we keep it pretty clear.
Oh, good.
But they'll be retained in this system.
Mark, you do have my phone number, right? You do? Okay, thanks. Any other concerns, questions, discussion for those presenting this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Thanks, guys and young lady. Board Administration, Dennis Butler, approval of resolution approving and authorizing a form of loan agreement and authorizing and providing for the issuance and levying a tax to pay the notes. Approval of tax exemption certificate.
This is our 1.8 million you borrow for our CIP that we do out throughout the year. This is a perfect example here that this will be paid next year out of next May's borrowing. So we add them up during the year. So this is accumulation of all of our CIP projects this year, and this is the final step to get our money.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ung, second by Radig. Any further questions for Mr. Butler? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Reports on committee meetings.
Did you pass the approval of the tax exemption certificate? I think those are two different motions.
Oh, I didn't see, okay. I will move, do you have anything to discuss on the tax? I will move approval of the tax exemption certificate. Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. Further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Reports on committee meetings. Word has it that Rolling Hills Mental Health Region did in fact come to an agreement with the Crisis Center located at Division Street, and we will be taking possession of that. I don't know exactly when, but the meeting is tomorrow. I will be unable to attend, but I will be in close contact with our director up there. Yesterday, the Law Enforcement Center Authority approved and awarded the contract to the low bidder of Hausman. And I don't think we're done talking about it yet. So, anybody else?
I would back up a little bit. There's a meeting tomorrow. This is before the fact. We approved a 28E with the Soil and Water Conservation District. That's a great contract. Those folks go out and check all of the structures and report back to us to keep us safe. Good move.
Anyone? Round two of citizen concerns. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak on an item not already on the agenda? Item 21, board concerns.
On a positive note, just want to thank everyone out there that volunteers their time as a township trustee. We appreciate you.
Way to go public with that, Matthew.
Yeah, well, you know.
Kudos to those, right?
Kudos to those, that's right.
Any other board concerns? We are adjourned.